Okay, now we are live right now, so let's see if I can get her into position here.
You're just gonna keep smiling.
Yeah,
Is it only recording your face?
right now, yes, but it will record her face when she comes on.
Wait, so you're gonna stand there the whole time, or? Yeah, we gotta stand
It's on the
whole
7th.
time.
He breaks
Yeah.
the computer in the middle of it.
But I think it would be better if we turned around. Do you ever think of your face? Because I do too, because when you're looking
We'll see.
That way we're recorded. Yeah. We do it appropriate then.
I thought we were in the last one. Oh, look, it tells us how many viewers there are.
It's my ground.
Oh, look, one viewer.
Yeah, one viewer, someone's watching.
Someone's watching. So just be aware of that. Someone's watching.
Hello, one viewer. I know, right? It's like one viewer.
And they're
Like the last year.
I don't know.
two viewers. Someone's watching. Oh, they just say
Hello, one viewer.
there was two, and then.
You should be worried how you view and it's just gonna be.
That distracted me. Oh, she's pretty.
I mean, that's her.
Yeah.
Like it's not recording, it's still recording.
I'm
waiting for you to say it back.
Please stand by. Hey,
There's still another call.
Screen's black.
We did it right.
maybe she asked me to grab. High
Emily, get your survey done.
We don't know who he was.
Like you said, like 3 letters. You know how it's ABC? It's like called ABC.
I don't care how careful you write the instructions, you're always gonna have somebody.
Use everyone.
Stay smiling. Stay smiling. Maybe she has to use the restroom. She has to go to the doctor.
Please go get somebody to turn it off.
Maybe she's doing number 2. That is. There's.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
We finally got you there.
Yes, it worked now.
I'm going to turn it around and let you see my students.
Oh, hello. Hi. I'm Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi.
What? I'm not even shut.
All right, so good morning. Let's see if we can get started. Thank you for joining us. And we are in the process of doing a project, Ruta, where our students have created small companies.
Yeah.
And they're learning how to create business plans and
Okay.
marketing. And I thought I would start out with a question about business plans because they're going to be doing that next week. Can you tell them a little bit about what maybe the most important thing to remember when creating a business plan might be?
Right. Yeah, so in terms of business plan, the most important thing is actually just kind of consistency and clarity and making sure you answer 3 questions. First one would be around your customer. Who is your customer and how big is your market? Second would be what are you offering? What is your solution? And third would be like your milestones and your goals. What kind of results you want to achieve in a few months, 6 months, 12 months, 1 year, 3 years, depending on your kind of goals.
That's great. We appreciate that. They are also going to be doing a little bit of planning for promotion and marketing. They have done a brief marketing survey of some potential customers, but when they think about developing a promotional plan, maybe where do they start there?
Right. Well, I see marketing for me, it starts always with the customer. So you have to really have a great understanding about who is your customer, what, for example, like I start with like the concept called target persona. So like answering the questions and like really narrowing down your audience to one person. So say like, for example, is like John, he's a student, he's like 15 years old, lives in, I don't know, Washington, DC. Every day he has this kind of problem and then he tries to solve problem in this kind of ways. Does he use like, say like social media? If he's on social media, does he use like, is he a Twitter person? Is he a Facebook person? Does he use forums? Or maybe he doesn't use social media at all. Or maybe use them like kind of like secret social networks, anonymous social networks. And basically, or does he read like blogs, for example, or spends hours on YouTube? So basically, by creating target persona is like a fictional character about your potential customer, and you're trying to really understand about the lifestyle and day in the life of your target customer. And then when you have that, then you choose, okay, so like what's the best way, what's the quickest way for me to reach my customer? Should I create a blog, or should I create a video, or should I actually not even necessarily you have to do online, you can do offline. So say like if you have a product for a student, maybe the easiest way for you will be to reach him actually just personally, just go to schools, go to universities, right? Organize some kind of like launch party, or print some flyers. So basically you will answer all those questions when you when you decide who is your customer, and you have that kind of like short description. It can be A4 page with like few questions, making you understand who is your customer and like what are the best ways to reach him.
I've got a question over on this side of the room. Go ahead.
Other than questionnaires and surveys, what is another way to kind of find out what your target market is wanting in that specific product?
Did you hear that question?
Yeah. So like yeah, so like in terms of digital marketing, we start actually just coming up a list of keywords that determine the problem and the solution and your target customer. So maybe you can give me an example of your product and we can kind of like use it as a case study.
Our product is a line of healthcare thingies. What it is, instead of using glasses or contacts, it would be an eye drop, and it would have your prescription in it instead of, just having to do a bunch of maintenance on your glasses or buying contacts again every so often. You just get this eye drop and it improves your vision to what it would be other than that. Also, allergies. Yeah.
So she's actually created kind of a fantasy product that where an eye drop with a medical prescription in it takes the place of contacts or glasses.
Okay. So like where you can start, if you actually write down like all kind of keywords, like words describing the problem and the solution, and then describing your customer. So for example, if for this, like who is your customer for this kind of product? If you were to choose one.
People who don't necessarily have a lot of access to glasses and things like that, kind of like a third world countries where they need something to, yep.
I think you-
like
something there.
No, I'm really bad at describing it. I'm sorry.
No, it's great. Just let's try to narrow down, because the main thing actually with marketing is it's great to have a big vision that you're targeting everyone in like all third world countries, but say like just let's assume, well, I don't know what is a third world country, right? So like pick one. If you were to pick one country, which country would you pick?
Nigeria.
Everybody's whispering Africa.
Africa. Okay, let's pick Africa, right? So in terms of like age, how old is your customer?
I don't think it really has a limit. Basically, anybody who, needs improvement in their vision.
Right, but if you were to pick only one, just kind of as a starting point, because you can, you can reach all other people afterwards, but you still have to start with one target audience, and that's the key. It's kind of like it will save you time if you know that you're going only after, for example, young people or I don't know, older people, right?
Child or
Teenagers.
yeah, just go young adults. Yep.
Okay. So you're targeting your product young adults in Africa, right?
Yes.
So like when you know who's your customer, right? And then you can come up with like very personalized kind of like value proposition for this customer, right? And you kind of write everything down. You write down that's your first target audience, and that's your solution for this kind of person. And then you can look, okay, so is there any like, well, I understand probably your solution would be more kind of like social entrepreneurship idea. I'm not, at least it like sounds like that. So say like, if you were just kind of if you were to find ways to actually deliver your product to those kids in Africa, then it's not gonna be probably like as simple as like, yeah, like you're gonna do some advertising or create like, I don't know, a few pieces of content. You probably will want to do some like partnerships with like some maybe non-profit organizations who are already actually operating in Africa, who are already supporting such causes. So you can also like think what kind of come back to kind of like keywords and words, like what keywords would describe those institutions that support such ideas. And when you have that, when you write it down, then you can like kind of like with that list of keywords, you can go online and start searching. Is it like, I don't know, Kids in Africa, nonprofit association, or whatever keywords you have. Just do the search and come up with your associations. The next step would be just kind of think, okay, how we can reach out to those companies. Maybe they're already actually collaborating with some like entrepreneurship institutions, and they're already looking for new ideas how to kind of help kids in Africa. Does that answer your question?
A little bit, yeah. I kind of got the general idea of what I need to do. Thank you.
Ruta, why don't you tell them a little bit about you and what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So I'm digital marketer. I worked with education technology startups for the past 3 to 4 years. At the moment, I'm working on my own company. It's called Tactic. Find tactic.com. So basically, at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm building online learning platform for entrepreneurs, and my goal is to educate any age entrepreneurs about digital marketing. So basically provide digital marketing knowledge in a bite-sized format that everyone who has great startup ideas could just like log on the mobile device and every day spend 1 hour to learn something and to find customers for their products, basically.
Great. Got another question from someone? Why don't we, that was kind of fun what we did there on the front row just a moment ago. Would someone else like to mention their product, and let's kind of walk that through the same kind of case study?
Yeah, and like, because the thing is with marketing, there are some basic things that work. To say, like, as I mentioned, you always start with your customer, do your research about your target persona, then come up with like clear value proposition, set up your goals, and then find ways to reach your customers. But when it comes to kind of on the personal level, you have to actually, you have to yourself do the work. You have to answer those questions for yourself and like keep it like, at the start just on paper or whatever you're using, Google Docs, whatever, but like get clarity around your idea and your customer, and then you'll find ways to reach him. Because like I'm sure that like all of your ideas will be different, from say like social entrepreneurship ideas to like some consumer apps, or maybe even like learning platforms to make, I don't know, education better, for example. So, but the thing is actually each of you has to answer those questions themselves and like to get that clarity about what exactly you're doing.
Ruta, as a part of their final exam on this project, they need to bring a pitch to me for their ideas, kind of like we've been talking a little bit about the television show Shark Tank. Do you have any tips for them about if they were trying to get people to help invest in their company, how should they prepare for that?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I just have a really great presentation. Like on Wednesday, I'm mentoring in like Startup Next Accelerator here in Dublin, organized by Google for Entrepreneurs, and we just actually had great training on a similar topic, basically how to make sure that your final presentation to investor is clear enough. So I would say I would give just kind of like one tip. If you can simplify your idea to like very simple explanation, like kind of explaining like I'm 5 kind of thing. Because the thing is with investors and your audience is that nobody has like specific industry background, or they don't really understand your idea as well as you understand. So if you keep it like as simple as it could be, and before you pitch, you test it out with as many people as you can, and especially those people who don't have this problem, and just make sure that like your final presentation is very like simple and clear and straightforward. And it's actually very good tip would be just try using storytelling. So like the thing is actually just like from psychology point of view that people always remember stories. So if you tell me that there is this like, coming back to a case, this example we just had like kind of as a case study, if you tell me that there is like, I don't know, 8 years old kid somewhere in Nigeria, his name is Nubi, and he has this problem with eyesight, right? And he tries to solve it like this kind of ways, whatever. His parents are worried, and you tell this kind of like you explain the problem as kind of as a story, and you get people's attention. Your audience is already worried about this, right? And then you introduce your solution the same with the same kind of like storytelling format, and then you explain about your results if you have some kind of traction, or if you have some like, if you talk to people already, if you got some attention from other people or feedback, that's great. Show that. And last thing would be just kind of like mentioning your goals and milestones. How many people you want to help, like where your idea is gonna be like in next 6 months or 1 year, and what's next basically. Why do you need investment, or what do you need from this audience basically? So if you focus on like kind of storytelling and explaining problem, solution, your results, and next milestones, that should work, I think.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question for her while we have her? Val?
How would you exactly price your product?
That's a good question. It depends on idea. So for example, some ideas can be like social entrepreneurship ideas that they won't be like kind of like not a consumer would pay for that, because for example, if you take this example of like kids in Africa, right? Maybe, well, they won't have like money to pay for this product, but maybe there is like kind of other parties that could, for example, as like non-profit organizations, right? But if it's like simpler product that like if you're selling something, for example, for your teacher, right? Then you can validate pricing easier. You can actually just interview a few teachers, like if your customer would be teacher, or and then just find out like how much they're willing to pay. And the most important thing is when deciding on pricing is just understand like how much your target customer is spending at the moment to solve that problem. So for example, like for tactic courses, if I know that how much people are spending at the moment to solve a problem of digital marketing education, then I can decide, okay, so how much should I charge for my course, right? So if you take this approach and think how much people are spending at the moment on a similar product, and if you think, okay, my product is better because XYZ, and then you decide like I would charge this or that.
I really love the idea that you've started with a problem and everything focuses on finding a solution with your particular product to that problem. Let's go back to the first questioner over here. She's got one more follow-up question. Oh.
When pitching your ideas to potential investors or your market, which for the longest time in this year, we've been learning about ethos, pathos, and logos. Which one would you say kind of wins them over the most, with whatever you're?
So logical appeals, emotional appeals, what works best? Yeah.
You mean like how to convince your audience? Mm-hmm. Well, personally, I would say definitely emotional, because it's just coming back to my example about storytelling and stories. The thing is, actually, we as human beings, we kind of think that we are very rational, but the thing is actually, well, when we make decisions, we don't always have the time to evaluate all options, and we just make shortcuts. So say like, if I see 3 startups presenting an idea, and like one is very simple, and like it's kind of like that emotion really captures my attention, I might, maybe that's not the best idea, but my attention was there, and as an investor, I'm like, yeah, well, I understand this, so maybe at least if I understand this idea, I'll fund this idea. And other ideas, maybe they're the bad ideas, better products, but if I don't understand it, then, well, I can try to understand it by asking questions, but if also like answers don't convince me, then I'll just go with like something like I actually understood, right? So I'd say emotional. Logic comes like afterwards. So say like at the start, emotion is very important, but then logic comes afterwards when you actually have to, when say like, for example, when like investors said like, okay, yes, I would like to go through your business plan and understand your product better. then you have to actually have a proof that the problem you are solving is real and that your solution is definitely better, and like have a clear plan how you're gonna deliver your product to your target audience. So like logic is second, emotion is first, I would say.
Really great question. Ruta, thank you very much for joining us today. We're kind of out of time here, so we're going to wrap it up, but this was a really fun experience for us.
Yeah, it was. And I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but if you are, feel free to follow me on Twitter. Harrison can give you my Twitter handle, and just tweet me any questions, and I'm happy to answer questions. Or I don't know, if you want, just send me an email. Just please do, because I think that startups is actually a really exciting career option, and especially these days when you don't have to have many resources to actually start a company. You can start even when you're in school. You're just trying to do something like part-time. Finding people who have a problem on social media and all that. So well done, guys, and I'm happy to stay in touch.
Thank you very much. Oh, we've got one more question.
Yeah.
I'm the same person. No, I'm just curious now. How did you kind of get started here? Like, you're teaching us about entrepreneurship with the questions that we're asking, but how exactly did you get your start? Was anybody there to help you, or did you just kind of figure this all out on your own? Or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, well, I finished college 5 years ago, and I was studying business and IT. And at that time, I don't know, I was just reading a lot of books, like philosophy books, I think, and just like books on like personal development, like, success and stuff like that, like Think and Grow Rich, just, I don't know, some kind of crazy stuff like that. And I was just kind of thinking, like, I just got those ideas from books, basically, that like, well, if there are like people like, I don't know, following their dreams and really, I don't know, solving problems for people around the world, it just for me sounded like something appealing. And when actually after college, when I had to go and find internship and go, find a job, I just felt that like, it was a bit like kind of not really natural thing for me to do, because like, if I know that there are people around the world who are actually changing people's lives, and like now I just have to get a job, I was like, well, it just doesn't make sense, and how I got involved specifically in like entrepreneurship, well, I did like lots of things, like thousands of things. Like I think the main thing for me was like meeting people, just like kind of starting networking with people, going to like, I don't know if you are aware of like meetup.com. Meetup.com is like kind of like a network that people can organize events where you live in your, I don't know, in your city, around different interests. And so I started like joining events on meetup.com and just going to meet people based on my interest. And also like I started kind of like use social media to connect with people and learn from them, to say like follow some like entrepreneurs, read their blogs, watch their videos, and kind of try to share on social media things I'm reading about. So say like share on Twitter that say like, well, I support say educational causes, or I support, I don't know, health causes and like stuff like that. And I think just people meeting right people, either face to face or online, it really kind of helped me to find out even about myself more, that like, yes, I want to actually be in education entrepreneur, like edupreneur, and I care about this problem or that problem. And so I think it's reading books, and then reading blogs, being really active on social media, and meeting people, and then afterwards just trying things, like when I joined first startup, and then when I joined second one, and then now I have my own company. So everything came just by reading and meeting people, I suppose.
All right. Thank you very much, Ruta. We appreciate it. Ruta, we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, guys. Have a good day. Bye.
Why?